things like physical fitness, breath work, meditation, yoga, and then from there we move into sauna, cold plunge, and that's all just before breakfast.
Oh my gosh.
The guys, they sleep in cabins with basically bunks and a wood stove, and that's it.
That sounds wild.
Yeah.
Can we go there for fun? No, I'm just
Well, it's not a vacation, but you're welcome.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not, but it sounds like a great detox from your digital stuff, and then getting back in touch with yourself.
Right. And that's what it's all about, because present day, there's a huge problem, and it's being addicted to other people's ideas. Other people's ideas, and so we're trying to get away from that and show these men to look inward instead of looking out for all your answers. Because, I know from my own personal journey, everything that I've needed to know, was searching for, everything, it was already inside of me.
Yeah.
I just needed the key to unlock the cell,
That's really cool.
So it's very profound, and I truly believe that we are completely reshaping the conversation for how veterans are treated, and the narrative across the board. As we hear 22 a day and all this stuff. Well, guess what? The new numbers came out, and it's upwards of 44 a day.
Oh my gosh.
So what does that tell us? If we look at our dope book data on previous engagements for the last, even just go back 20 years, you look at all the statistics, it is not working.
Right.
It is not working fundamentally across the board. It is not working, and it needs to change. And so we are that change.
Very
Heroes
cool.
and Horses.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We got to cut you loose. How can people find Horses to Heroes?
Heroes and Horses.
Heroes and Horses. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to get it right.
That's okay.
How can people find where it is? We'll put some links below.
Go to www.heroes, HEROES, and horses.org. And I just want to say to any veterans out there, if this program sounds like something you're interested, please go to the website. Our application season is open right now, and we'd love for you to apply.
Very cool. All right, we're going to put some links in there. Thank you very much, Jason.
God bless. Thanks for having me.
We will be right back with Toby Leary from Cape Gun Works. Thank you. All right, cool. We're going to have you hop out.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got your info. We'll put some links. You've got mine.
Yeah.
Feel free to reach out, man.
Hey, if you're ever in Montana,
I'd love to go to Montana. I've never been to Montana. It sounds kick-ass.
Dude, you can come out there. So my best friend, he's the CEO and founder.
Yeah.
His name's Mike Mfg, former Navy SEAL CIA guy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Charlie from Riding Shotgun with Charlie from the Samson booth. Thanks to Land World for this 1942 World War II Jeep. Right now I have with me Toby Leary from Cape Gun Works. Toby, this is what's crazy. I've known you for 12 or 13 years. We travel across the country to sit in the Jeep and do a show to talk about the nonsense that is going on in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I'm sure we could pick a more efficient method.
Right. I'm only 2 hours away from the Cape.
But hey, any which way it gets done is
absolutely.
Important. So
well,
thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. So we've had some nonsense no, and I'm, being nice when I say nonsense. We've had some nonsense happen in Massachusetts over the last 2 years, and you're the one that's kind of spearheaded stopping the nonsense or putting your. I like to say this. I used to say I was going to run for office, and my slogan was going to be, I'm putting my foot down and my finger up. And that's kind of what you're doing. I'm not going to put those words in your mouth, but
I like that. I can wear that. That's it's like one of those things, like you get kicked, where too many times, and you finally just like, let me back up a little bit.
Right.
At some point you got to realize, like, the cavalry isn't riding over the hill to save us.
For sure.
So if no one's coming to save us, and we use that in like the self-defense training,
right? Of course,
world,
you have to be you have to be your own first responder.
So the same goes for our rights. Like, our politicians go there and violate their oath of office and do it again every 2 years they're sworn in.
Mm-hmm.
They violate their oath of office by putting out bills that are antithetical to their oath of office and their, duty to be the confidential guardians of our rights, as Madison put it. And so after a while, I'm like, man, if only some group would come in, or some rich guy with a big stack of money could come in and sue everybody. And if only, people would do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
None of this would have happened. It's like the old Woody Woodpecker, if Woody had gone straight to the police, none of this would have happened, But unfortunately, no one comes to save us, especially in Massachusetts. We have the worst court systems in the world, in the country, for sure. And so I'm like, you know what? If no one's going to do it, we got to do it. Like,
right.
That's really what it comes down to. And so we formed the Civil Rights Coalition, a ballot committee to put the question of, can you vote away your rights on the ballot in 2026? I don't believe the answer is yes. I don't believe we have the power to actually vote away our rights. This was done in Oregon on ballot initiative 114 a few years ago, where they passed a law that's very similar to Chapter 135, the Massachusetts law. And they passed it narrowly. I think it was like 51-49. It might have even been less than 1% that passed. But then a district court judge there said, hey, you can't do that. You have a right. You can't vote it away. The only way a right can be changed or altered or whatever is through a committee, an actual act of Congress for a constitutional convention, right, to add an amendment to the Constitution.
Right.
And no one except Gavin Newsom is proffering a 28th Amendment. So fortunately,
he's really not doing too well in his own state. He needs to worry about himself in his own house.
Same with Maura Healey in our state.
Yeah,
definitely not doing very well. When the Boston Globe starts beating you up,
that's bad.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
When the left wing newspaper starts beating you up, the left wing politicians, it's bad news.
Right. So, as most of your listeners probably know, we started that ballot committee. We got a grassroots effort of patriots, of gun people, and I would say more interesting than the gun people is the non-gun people that got involved. We had probably 50% of the signatures we gathered were non-gun owners, mad that their rights were being taken away. No dog in the fight as far as, a gun they're going to not be able to have or buy or they just said, I want my rights intact.
Yeah.
Where do I sign? And so we got over 100,000 raw signatures, turned into about 75,000 certified by the Secretary of State's office. We needed 50,000 to get the law suspended.
Right.
And 37,000 to get it on the ballot. And we ended up doubling the need for how many we needed to get on the ballot and exceeding the amount of the suspension effort by 25,000. As soon as more, go ahead.
The signatures. So I was one of the first 10. You should have been one of the first 10. But here's, to me, this was the ridiculous part. You went to your town to become what is it? The certified.
I had to get the registered voter certificate.
Registered voter certificate. So you went to your town hall
and got it. Yeah, and it took me about an hour at town hall because I had to tell the clerk 3 times I needed it sealed by the registrar.
Okay.
And so she said, well, that's going to cost you. I said,
okay,
whatever. Okay, how much is it? $10. And I said, well, I want 3 copies. That's going to be $30. She's doing the math for me now. So I'm like, okay, we're getting somewhere.
Thanks, honey.
And then she came back, no seal. I said, what about the seal? Well, I told you that's going to cost. I said, take my money. Okay.
Right. This is $30.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I feel like I'm being extracted or extorted for this money, but I'm going to pay it because I need it,
Right.
So,
right.
So I finally got them to certify it and seal it and hand it over. And we were on our way.
Right.
And then when we get to the to the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office to submit those first 10 signatures, unfortunately, Mike Harris from Gun Owners Action League was very smart, and he got 15 of us just in case.
Just in case.
And
thank God, because I love this. You're like, he's got the sealed. He's had to pay $30. I go in, my pull mine out. It's all wrinkly.
He pulls it out of his shirt pocket. He whips out this thing. It's like a half sheet of paper, and it pulls it out, like folded up. I'm like,
unfolds
mine is in like a bound notebook. Like it almost has like a embossed leather bound thing to it, but pull it out and there's 2 signatures we can't accept. And I knew right then and there one of them's going to be me. And she goes, yeah, this one here doesn't have the home address on it. I'm like, I'll add it. Nope, can't do it. Oh my God.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to keep laboring this, but it's weird to me that the state, the town government doesn't even have the right form that the state wants.
Yeah,
that's the thing that's complete nonsense. But let's get back to it. So you got over 100,000 signatures needed. 79,000 were valid.
Yeah,
certified.
It was there-ish. It was like 76 or something like that.
Yeah,
1,000 were certified by the secretary's office. We had about 90,000 that were certified by the local towns, but then the secretary goes through it with a fine-tooth comb, and if there's any jot or tittle or mark on the page or dirt or smudge or fold that shouldn't be there, they throw the whole form out. So if you have 10 or 12 signatures on that form, all of those go because of one bad signature or whatever.
Bad paper. That's nuts. So where's the coalition at now? Like, so where are we at in the Bay State?
Yeah, so we just launched phase 2 of the coalition, which is to get the public aware of what's happened, because most people are totally asleep at the wheel. A lot of gun owners still don't even know what happened to their rights. A lot of people call every day the shop like, can I buy an AR-15? And it's like, what rock have you been hiding under for like the last 20 years? Like, but anyway, so there's still a lot of education, and I get it. People get busy. Like I like to say that gun owners are usually, not trying to paint with a broad brush, but usually they're responsible people, they're families, they're, involved with their kids' lives, they're hunters, they're sportsmen, so they're sitting in tree stands, they're taking kids to hockey or soccer or baseball, they're going to church, they're doing a civic thing once in a while, and cleaning the yard, whatever. They're busy people, right? So they're not paying attention to everything that happens politically. And so it's our job to really alert them what has happened and wake them up and say, hey, your rights under the cover of darkness by a majority vote in the state house and a signature by a complicit governor have now fundamentally changed your birthright as an American citizen. That should never happen anywhere, any town, any city, any place in America. That should never happen. And if people who are anti-gun are okay with that, there's going to come a time when that very thing happens, and to a right that they care a lot about. Yep. And how are you going to fight it?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do then?
Right.
Right. Totally.
So all rights are worth protecting, and this one happens to be one that I'm very passionate about. I was always a very passionate sportsman, outdoorsman, gun owner, advocate before
this happened.
Before owning a gun store even.
Yep.
I own a gun store now because of how passionate I was about the industry and the sport and the Second Amendment and whatnot. So so we're educating. We're supporting legislation that was filed by Senator Peter Durant's office to repeal Chapter 135 and 5 other bills that he also introduced to repeal portions of it.
Yep.
And we're supporting litigation efforts. Gun Owners Action League has a lawsuit that is now on hold and more to come. There's other lawsuits that are probably going to happen in the next couple weeks. We'll be a plaintiff in one of those.
Excellent.
And then it's all about education. I'm thinking about doing, and you might be interested in this, an actual, I won't call it a listening tour as much as a talking tour, but a public forum where we can go, tell people about what has happened, have Q&A, and try to spread this to the public throughout the Commonwealth.
Right.
So that's something that the Civil Rights Coalition is looking at doing. And have a panel of guests and people that are that know this stuff in and out and can help the public with any questions they might have. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, isn't this just about ghost guns or red flag laws?"
Right. It's about training.
Yeah. So
cool.
It's all that.
How can people find it? We got to wrap things up.
Let's go to the Civil Rights Coalition. Make sure the Civil Rights Coalition.com and also fightbackma.org.
Fightbackma.org. All right, we're going to put some links in the show description.
Thank you,
Toby. Always a pleasure, man. Anything I can do, let me know.
We'll do. We'll be bringing attention to this any which way we can, and you're a good voice for that. So thank you.
I'm honored, man. Thank you very much. All right, in just a moment, we are going to be back with Charlie Brown from High Point. We'll be right back.
Sir.
Thanks, man. We'll talk. All right. Can you hit the record button? The record button should be on. Shit.
I can interrupt very quickly. Charlie,
yep.
The podcaster, Edward.
How you doing, man? Good to talk to you. Let me give you my card. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Charlie Riding Shotgun with Charlie here at the Samson booth, live from SHOT Show. Thank you to Samson Manufacturing. Thank you to Land World for getting us this Jeep. I am here with Charlie Brown from High Point.
How's it going?
I am living the dream. How about
Oh.
yourself?
The same. All exhibitors love it.
Excellent. We're going to bring that up a little
All
higher.
right.
All right. So real quick, you're from High Point?
Well, I own MKS Supply.
MKS,
We
that's
do all
right.
the sales, marketing, and that type of thing for High Point.
Gotcha. That's very cool. But you're also making a run for the NRA Board of Directors, right?
That's correct.
Let's talk about this.
All right. Well,
So,
when you start talking NRA, you get a lot of mixed feelings right now because of
Right.
the issues and trials and tribulations that they've gone through. We all know about those.
Yeah.
And, that ship needs to be corrected and
Mm-hmm.
steered in the right direction. The last couple of years, reformers have slowly got onto the board of directors. And this year, there's 28 reform candidates that are endorsed by the reformers
right.
to come in and make a change and bring in integrity, transparency, real transparency back to the NRA.
Mhm.
As a board of director, we're just caretakers for the members because
Right.
it's a members organization.
Yep.
And it hasn't been run like a members organization for a long time. And we need to get back to that.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. You're going as a writing candidate?
Yeah.
Is this true?
Well, interesting story. I've got a condominium in Sarasota, Florida, and it was the X for the last 2 hurricanes. So the times that the hurricanes hit Sarasota, I was down there tending to my properties,
Mhm.
and that happened to coincide with the exact same time all of the signatures had to go into the secretary's office.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was in Florida. All the signatures were being mailed to my house because they had to be wet, right? They couldn't be, emailed.
Right.
So, I would consolidate them and, send them on to the NRA, and the last packet did not make it to the NRA in time.
Oh no.
So therefore, myself and a gentleman named Paul Babez from Atlanta, Georgia,
Mhm.
he was also directly affected by the hurricanes. Him and I are write-in candidates, so we're on a fun ride here. And as a write-in candidate, you don't necessarily have a really high chance of making the board,
Sure.
but there is a chance, and we both care about the NRA, and are pledging to give our time and experience. And so we said, why not? Let's give it a try.
Very cool.
I'm in the industry, so
Yes.
it helps me to be in the industry because I have connections such as yourself and other podcasters. I can get the word out for anybody that's a 5-year member consecutive or
Yep.
a life member can be our voters. Okay.
Okay.
So if you're going to write myself in, you
Mhm.
have to write on the back of the ballot, Charles Brown, Dayton, Ohio.
Charles Brown, Dayton, Ohio.
And Paul Babez, Atlanta, Georgia.
You're going to have to spell that.
Yeah. you can misspell the name,
Okay.
but you have
Go
to have the
figure it out.
name, town, and state.
The name, town, and
Yes,
state.
yes.
Yes. It's important for that.
Yep.
And then you have to be 5 members in a row or a life member.
Yes.
To be a voting member
Correct.
of the NRA.
Yep.
What I think is great is we do need people that are business owners that know how to run businesses to run the business of the NRA.
Absolutely. And the board of directors is comprised of many talented people.
Mhm.
There's a lot of business owners. There's several attorneys. There's a lot of NRA volunteers that have been in the organization at different levels for a long time.
Yep.
We've even got a brigadier general running as a reform candidate this year.
Oh, wow.
Brigadier General Hagan. So we have a immense locker of talent.
Mhm.
Business people like challenges.
Sure.
And so, that's why one of the reasons I'm going after it. But, the reason it goes deeper than that. My father and grandfather started the first pay to shoot range in Dayton, Ohio in 1952.
Oh my gosh.
So I was at the gun counter before I could see over the gun counter. I've always been in the firearms business.
Yeah.
And they always told me, hey, if you don't like the direction of an organization, you can either complain or you can get involved. So
Absolutely.
I wouldn't get involved until Wayne was gone.
Yeah.
Because he had a stranglehold on everybody.
Sure.
Wayne is now gone, and I'm in. So I think we can make a real change and bring the NRA back and the membership back to what it has been and it needs to be.
I think one of the hard things about membership is everyone hears we have 100 million gun owners, and then you hear there's somewhere between 4 to 5 million members of the NRA.
Yeah.
And one of the issues is anyone that is gun related, the people that aren't gun folks think that they're in the NRA, and they're not. Like
Right.
really, let's face about it. A single digit percentage of gun owners are our NRA members,
Right.
and we certainly need more of those.
We certainly do, and over the past years, we've lost quite a large
Sure.
number.
Yeah. No. In
a
2020,
couple million.
in 2020, it went up. Peaked at like with the mostly peaceful, only a little fiery riots.
Right.
It got up to like what, about 6 million
Yes,
people,
right
and then
in that neighborhood.
right, and then it's dropped down to like 4 million
Right,
or so.
Right. And I mean, rightly so. People were not happy with the way it was being run.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're making a change. We need to elect the 28 reform candidates.
Yeah.
You really don't need to vote for anybody else except for the 28 reform candidates. Now, you can go get more information on electanewNRA.com.
Okay.
That'll get you there.
New NRA.com.
Easy to remember, right?
It is.
If you want to change the NRA, electanewNRA.com. It'll give you all the information on the endorsed reform candidates,
Okay.
including myself and Paul as write-ins.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're going to put some links in there below.
Be wonderful.
Before I let you go, I do want to let you know that I have a friend back in Massachusetts that has a 40 caliber high point, and he says you guys can say what you want about it. He's taking classes, shoots it all day long, zero jams, zero issues, zero problems. Yeah, I was talking with Amanda Suffolk, and she's like, make sure you bring up the Yeet cannon,
Oh, yes.
and then the Yeet cannon 2, and then everyone had to go back and get the Gen 1, and
Right.
like, holy moly.
Well, the Yeet cannons have been a great ride. I'm not surprised your friend has been happy with the high point. I mean, they're very robustly made. They carry a lifetime warranty for the gun.
Mm-hmm.
If it ever doesn't do what you want it to do, you send it back. We fix it for free, no questions asked. We've had them run over by bulldozers. We had them returned from house fires, and they're made by humans, so occasionally one don't work right. So we fix it, right?
Yeah.
It is 100% American made and has a lifetime warranty. Because we're the least expensive firearm out there on the marketplace, people are going to make assumptions without really knowing the real backstory and understand.
For sure.
So that's natural. We have very thick skin and we roll with it. The Yeet cannon was named through an internet naming contest, like Bodie McBoatface. That was my horror every night when we were running this thing.
Yeah.
But the Yeet cannon, if you look it up or Google it, it means to throw something at velocity. And that just made sense.
Perfect.
So the Yeet cannon comes engraved, big, bold Yeet cannon. The younger shooters enjoy that. Us older guys, we're like, yeah, I don't want it all engraved up. So we offer a model that just says YC9 on it.
Oh, very
black.
cool.
So,
very cool.
You can choose what
Right,
you want.
if you don't want it to look like $100 bills, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So, but it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I appreciate your having me on the show.
I appreciate you being able to fill in for people at the last minute, Charlie.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charlie.
Hang tight. All right, so we're going to be back with a couple of other guests. I got to tell you, I'm not sure who it is, but we'll be back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Charlie riding shotgun with Charlie at the Samson booth. Thanks to Land World. Sorry, I blanked out there. Thanks to Land World for letting us use this Jeep here at SHOT Show 2025. I have with me the the NRA's Industry Woman of the Year in the car.
Yes.
I know. My good friend, Ann Morrow. Ann, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me, Charlie. Last time we rode together,
We were in Maryland.
we were in Maryland, riding over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
I got to tell you this. So I don't play the YouTube Shorts game very much.
Okay.
I did put the video of that as a YouTube short. I don't know. I got like 4,000 views or something, 7,000
Wonderful.
views. I thought it was crazy. Just going over the Chesapeake Bay in like a sped up video form.
I love that.
It's great.
That's awesome. Beautiful view. Great
it-
ride. We had a
yes.
good time.
We had a great time.
We always have a great time when we get together. So
Oh my gosh, it is
anytime
awesome.
we can go out and shoot and talk about shooting, and
It's always a good time.
it's always a good time for all of us.
It is. You are an instructor. Shoot. We can't call it sport. We call it sporting clays. We can't call it shotgun instructor, right?
Correct. Well, I'm the head coach at the University of Maryland of their sporting clay team
Very cool.
and clay target team. Not sporting clay, I should say clay target, because we do shoot all the clay target disciplines.
Excellent. Excellent.
And yes, super exciting. It's great to see the whole collegiate world growing by leaps and bounds.
I'm kind of shocked by this. Like,
Don't they?
not that it's growing, that it's like there are colleges that have this.
Yes, and more schools are embracing. They truly the college athletes. They are the most disciplined group of athletes that you'll see out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our collegiate nationals coming up in San Antonio, Texas, in the middle of March this year.
Nice.
And like I said, the college teams are growing by leaps and bounds. Schools are becoming much more acceptable. And as I tell everyone, if I can do this at the University of Maryland,
Yeah.
you can do
You can
this
do it
anywhere.
anywhere. Right.
And Maryland, the school is very, very accepting of what we do, and they're very proud of the team.
Very cool.
Yes,
Very cool. Industry Woman of the Year.
I know. Isn't that exciting? And
I can't believe this.
I
This
really
is
look
great.
forward to using kind of like this year's role and platform I have now to really promote the Second Amendment.
Mm.
And anybody who knows me, I'm very big into the sports end of shooting, the recreational end of shooting.
Right. It's
And that whole aspect to let people know you can have a sport for life in the clay target shooting.
you can any age. There's oh my gosh. I don't want to say handicapped people in wheelchairs. What are they called?
Correct.
Adaptive shooting.
Absolutely.
Adaptive shooting. There's adaptive shooting. Any age. You can be young. You can be a teenager. You might be able to be younger. You can shoot until you're old.
I tell people all over when I do presentations and teach literally all over the country. I'm very fortunate. I have like the ultimate dream job.
Mhm.
But I tell everyone that, I don't know of anywhere else or a sport where I can have an 8-year-old on one side of me and an 80-year-old on the other.
That's
And,
incredible.
we're all there. And I've certainly seen people even older than 80 out there shooting, and they just love it. And it's great.
That's awesome.
It's all about being safe, having a good time, busting those clays, and supporting our 2A.
How does somebody become the Industry Woman of the Year?
Oh,
I-
wow. It was truly an honor.
Yeah.
I've worked very, very hard behind the scenes, as everyone that, as they're finding out and everything's being released, they're like, it is so well deserved. And if anybody, you have definitely earned what you've done. So I've made a big difference in, having products that are out there for women that make it so much easier to step into the sport.
Mhm.
And making them that fit much better. I laugh because everybody assumes I only deal with women, but I don't, because my college team, I have females on my team and absolutely great females, but the majority of my team are guys that are a good, foot taller than me. So, which is good. So I just
Right.
love working with people, all ages, all abilities. Even when you talked about the adaptive shooting, when I was first learning, someone said to me, they said, Ann, we need you to just sit down in a chair and see what it's like for someone. And we're going to have
Wow.
you shoot from a chair. And I never forgot that. And I would practice that. So then when I went on to become an instructor, a coach, do all of that,
You
when
knew
I've
how
had
to-
those people, I knew exactly how to step right up
That's
and
incredible.
do. Because not many people, they'll shy away from something because they're just unsure
Sure.
what to do. And nobody wants to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Very cool.
Yes.
You want to stick around and talk with Michael Bain?
Sure. You want me to hop in the back?
Uno momento. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a moment. We're going to bring in Michael Bain. Michael Bain's going to be in the front. I'm putting Ann in the back seat, not because I'm putting Ann in the back seat. I'm putting Ann in the back seat because she's the only one that will fit back there. So we shall be right back with Ann Morrow and Michael Bain.
Try there, dude.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Charlie, Riding Shotgun with Charlie, live at the SHOT Show from the Samson Manufacturing booth. Thanks to Land World for the Jeep that we have. It's a 1942 World War II Jeep. And we have been able to add Michael Bain to the Jeep.
I've made it to the Jeep. And if you could loan me this Jeep, I could probably get through downtown Denver if I had a 50 mounted on a pedestal. You know, I'm pretty sure that would work.
We had to take it wasn't a 50, but they put a rifle on the hood, but I got to take it off to do the shows.
Oh, okay.
It is a pleasure to have you on the show. It's always a pleasure. I love, this is what I love. I went to go drop something off at the Meet the Pressure show that you were doing yesterday.
I saw you. And
yes,
I waved. I did wave.
Yes, and I had keys for Matt because I had to film a show. And I'm like, I'll just wait. I want to make sure I connect with Michael. And I waited a half hour. I'm like, I got to go. So I dropped the keys off. I know. These guys are like, yeah, he talked for an hour and a half. I'm like, holy moly. Holy moly.
BS is my life.
There you go.
So what have you been up to? How are things for you, man?
I think they're pretty good. I mean, it's been a pretty good show.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of show where there's a whole lot of stuff where you go like, wow, this hit my credit card. But I think it's more of a everybody's hedging their bets show.
Yeah.
Is that they had a couple of months of downturn and now they're like, okay, the world isn't going to end, but are we still going to have a business? So
right.
But,
that is good.
I did buy one of the new Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum mountain guns because I could. And there's probably a couple other things that might. I actually think the Kel-Tec, stripper clip fed 5.7 is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It's just George Kellgren, who's owner and prime designer for Kel-Tec. George is the best gun designer in the United States presently working. He's also nuts. And I told George, I said, he goes, I wish you wouldn't call me nuts. I'm like, it's okay, George. I mean, people like that, but I think it's so far out of left field. I'll buy one and I'll carry it in Denver in my Jeep. Colorado's getting ready to pass the most restrictive gun law in the history of the country. And it's because, you know, we couldn't find a large enough blue tent to tent the state for Californians. If we could, I think it would clarify most of our issues.
Sure.
But we'll stop it in court. But that's money and that's time and that's me having to go down and speak in front of the legislature, most of whom I would see strung up or drawn and quartered, which I think is a punishment that should be bought back. But other than that,
no strong feelings.
No strong feelings. Little hunting. Went down to Texas hunting nilgay.
Nice.
And that was a lot of fun. Also ended up with like 500 pounds of really good meat, which I always split. And half of what I take hunting goes to an orphanage in Mexico, because I figure, you know, kids shouldn't pay the freight for what happened with their parents. So I bought Christmas dinner for an orphanage in Mexico.
There you
Which
go.
is like the fourth time I've done that, which, if nothing else, it makes me feel good and I get a nice note.
There you go, man. There you go. Ted Nugent's in this years ago, and I absolutely love it. He said, I go to Africa and I feed a village, and Bono goes to Africa and he doesn't bring like 1 grain of rice.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Right?
The times I've been to Africa, I've been very careful to in a sense, follow the meat. Where'd the meat go?
Yeah.
You know, Namibia, how it's distributed to the tribal concessions, the Bushmen, the sand. In South Africa, the government actually takes it, distributes it to the townships.
Wow.
It's processed, packaged, and sent to the townships. And that makes all the sense in the world. You know, the conservation thing works. You get to eat some of the meat, but the majority of the meat goes to people who actually need it very badly. And it's a smart move. You know, I would like to see more of that in the United States. I mean, there is Hunters Feed the Hungry, but I would like to see a little more of. But it's harder because here in the United States, there's a lot of people who are pretty sure meat comes from a supermarket wrapped in plastic.
Right. So rather than send them to me,
incredible.
To put in the grocery store to wrap in plastic.
Do you know in England that cuts of meat have to be done individual size and 100% wrapped in plastic, so that the young English people can take it out and squeeze it into a skillet? They did a lot of studies that said the young people were unwilling to touch flesh. And so if you buy a chicken cutlet, the chicken cutlet is in like what amounts to a baggie, and then you can squeeze it into your skillet, and you never, ever have to touch it. It's like, I'm sorry, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, not at all. You are not going to survive the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going on in England. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
it's been a while since I've been over, but it seems to have gotten weird. But
no kidding. I've been listening to the show. You went to the what was the Pat Rogers Revolver Roundup recently? And you did the
It's because you get to spend time with Daryl Bolke, DB, and Brian Eastridge, Brian with a Y, or you can just call him Y. You can just cut through the whole thing. You know, they are brilliant trainers.
Yeah.
And they run the American Fighting Revolver website, and they're funny. Also, my friend Greg Elfritz was there. He's, again, I think Greg Elfritz is one of the best self-defense trainers in the country.
Right.
He's also extremely funny. And so I like to just kind of hang around with Greg.
No kidding.
So we can swap one-liners back and forth, like ding, 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 ding.
I love that stuff. This is where like going to something like this is how you get me to stop talking. Just listen to these two guys swap jokes, tell stories, take it all in. Absolutely.
Lies, all lies. But but I like the revolver round. I mean, it's not so much that revolvers are staging a comeback. It's that to a large extent they never went away. I mean, they work. You know, it's one of those things that pocket carry of a J-frame revolver. My mentor was Walt Roush, and Walt Roush was he Army Intelligence Presidential Protection Detail for Secret Service, Philadelphia High-Risk Felony Squad, warrant server.
Yikes!
Private detective private dick on the docks in Philadelphia. He founded USPSA, he founded IDPA, and Walt was one of the last hardcore hard men, and I believe he was buried with 2 of his snubbies.
Wow,
because that would be the appropriate thing to
to
do. He was never without them.
No kidding.
You know, he goes, "You never know. You never know."
Oh my God!
I asked him once. I said, "Tell me something I don't know," and he goes, "You know, if you want to kill somebody by dropping them off a building, you really need to go higher than the 4th floor." I said, Well, let me add that to my list of important information. I who knew,
Right?
you know?
What's the appropriate
Let's-
floor level to throw someone out
You
of?
know, you got to go up more than 4 floors, or some guy's going to be going, "I'm coming for you." Yeah, if I get up the stairs, you're in pretty deep trouble.
Oh my
And, you know,
God.
they say you learn something new every day, and I just
There you
There
go.
we
just
go.
learned something new.
So when
There
you
we
go to your
go.
students to talk to them on sporting clays, you're like, I got a little tidbit for you,
There you go.
and that'll scare the hell out of
It'll
them. No,
scare
you know,
the hell out of
we're
them.
going to listen to her because, oh my God, there's a parking garage over there. It's 6 stories. We could be taking a long flight.
That's
You
it.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know,
That's awesome.
I love being around really like world-class instructors, because whether it's in the area that you primarily do or not, you always learn stuff from it.
Always.
Yeah.
It's the things that they know that I always think it kind of flies off of them like dandruff. It's like little tidbits of things. Yeah, Rob Latham and I have been friends for, I don't know, 30, 40 years.
Mhm.
And just being around Robbie, and Robbie would just say, "Hey, MB, you know such and such and such." I'm like, "Hold on, I'm going to write that down, Rob. Thank you very much." You know, but great instructors have that core information
Mhm.
that as much as a great instructor might impart to the students, there's much more than that
Oh,
available, you know.
Absolutely. And also, to a great instructor, if they're really great, they don't claim to know it all.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
know
right.
that they're always learning themselves, and
Yeah.
they're willing to take in new information and learn new ways to do things and
Mm.
how to present things. And
And that's a good way to sort out instructors.
yes,
You know, my girlfriend took a concealed carry class, and it was our permitting class, and I went because I hadn't taken an NRA permitting class in ages. So I said, I'll just sit there. And the guy starts talking about like 10 minutes into it. I said, "Don't listen to anything this fool says. You know, everything that comes out of his mouth is moron talk." Because he's like, "I could kill you with an arrow or a gun or even a pencil." So yes, Mr. Wick. I mean, we've already been through this, okay? You know, in fact, you probably couldn't kill her with a concrete block, you know, and a head start. You know, it's just
It's nuts. I had somebody, some woman that I knew, reached out to me. She took a class from a local instructor, and she grew up in New York around firearms. Not a big deal. Went and took a class with this a licensing course with this gentleman. Came back to me and she's like, "Look, I'm nervous about getting my license to carry because I took a class with this guy. I came out knowing less and more afraid." And I'm like, "That's not good. That is not
wrong
good at
type
all."
of instructor. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I'm a good trainer, but I'm not somebody who is called to train, if that makes sense.
okay.
I mean, I think you have to go beyond being a good trainer. But a couple of my friends who run academies and things, they use me as the remedial guy. You know, they say we have a student coming in that went with us before, and could you commit the day to that student? You know, so you're there to kind of take them through and at first assess, and then then hopefully fix it.
Mm.
And if not, at least make them laugh.
Very cool. That's all people need. I hate to cut you guys short. We have another guy that's going to be hopping in. He's a revolver guy. He has he's got a speed loader that holds, I think it holds 3 rounds worth of ammunition.
Oh yeah,
for
3
revolvers.
separate layers.
Yeah.
It's essentially an 18-shot speed loader.
It's great. And he's like, "Look, I only have 5 minutes of content." And Ann, what did Ann say?
Go ahead.
She said it is a speed loader. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
Speed
it's gonna be
loader.
quick.
It's going to be quick.
It puts bullets in a revolver. You know how that works? There's holes in it. Whoop,
Right.
bing, we're good out here.
I know.
That's it. We're done.
My line when I teach people to load revolvers is you point the gun down and let gravity take over, because it's not just a good idea.
It's the law.
Exactly.
Take Greg Elephant's class in reloading snubby revolvers. Yeah, he has a whole different spin on it, so
Yeah.
to speak. You got
The
revolver
whole different spin on it.
spin.
Oh,
Wolf
waka waka.
spin.
He'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your
All right.
bartenders and waitresses. All right.
Try the lamps. Delicious.
We will be right back with Phil Wilson to talk about some revolver stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Hang tight. We'll be right back. right, we have one more quick segment here from the Samson booth at SHOT Show 2025. Again, thanks to Samson Manufacturing for letting us use their space and their booth. And we want to thank Land World for hooking us up with the 1942 World War II Jeep. Right now, I have with me Earl and Phil. I got to tell you, Phil Wilson was a trombone player that played with Woody Herman back in the 60s. I'm a trombone player, and when I was 15, I heard Phil Wilson play, and I said, I'm moving to Boston from Illinois. I'm moving to Boston to go to college to study with Phil Wilson. And I'm like, wait a second, this can't be the same Phil Wilson. Phil, it's nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Thanks for being on the show. And Earl, thank you so much. So you guys have a really cool revolutionary product for revolvers, which doesn't really happen too often.
Right. Yeah. I don't think the technology has changed that much in the last 60 years.
Yeah.
So, we came out with an 18-shot speed loader for revolvers. Had to reinvent the technology.
Yeah.
Right, the release mechanism, so that not only do they drop, but they'll hold in place after you release it.
Oh, wow.
Just keep popping them. Takes about maybe 3/16 of an inch to release it. So it's super fast. That's probably one of our biggest comments is how fast it is.
Very cool. Let's show the camera how this we'll show the camera what it looks like. All right. And how do you load this? Do you load it from the back or from the front?
Yeah, so I'll take one out, right?
Put it up
We
here.
got to show the camera.
Just take one or two out, right? But you just put them in the bottom, hit the button, load it again, right? So they're not coming out.
Oh, wow.
So when you pop it to same concept, it'll reset to the lock position as you're working through the mechanics of it. We got patent on that. So that was kind of start from scratch to kind of get here.
Very cool. Do you have these for different makes and models?
We have under this first one. So we actually debuted on Tuesday. Like we walked the desert for 3 years, right? Done the patent thing, a lot of customer feedback, seller feedback. We put it in a couple stores, let them try it out.
Yeah.
Refining the process until we're ready to get here. Debuted on Tuesday. So and felt that like this audience would be the most critical and got nothing but positive feedback.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so that it's really cool, especially since this is the group, right?
Yeah, for sure. Can I check it out?
Sure, of course.
This is really cool, man.
So another
right now
aspect,
that fits the 38 and the 357 models.
Yep.
On the list of our package, and it shows all the models that it will fit.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is he mentioned that we put it in a few stores to get not only the user feedback, but also the seller feedback.
Mhm.
We learned that one of the new things now is getting custom grips put on. Specialty
So you got to
grips.
have a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, so we were having some interference, and we went back to the drawing board, and we found out that we could do the push button riser, and we increased it to a 4 millimeter to give it a little bit more distance. We solved that problem and actually increased about 20 more models that it fits for. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah, it was very
that's really
fortunate coincidence, right?
Right,
So
that's-
challenge opened up on more models.
well. I'm interested in this because I'm a revolver guy. I carry a 5-shot J frame. But when I first was a gun guy, I had a Model K, a Model 19, Smith Model 19, and you have to have one. I like the HKS speed loaders, so I'd have one. I had to get 3 or 4. I can't remember what model it was, like 10 or something, 15. That was the HKS one, and then if you had I needed a smaller one, obviously for a J frame, so I had to get another one. And if you could have something that works with like the full-size Smiths and the full-size Colts, and it adapts to all of them, that would be fantastic.
Yep.
It's pretty close. So, there's a variation of diameter in these cylinders, right? So it actually does work, but it's not vertically aligned, right? So if we really want to stick to that super fast speed load, the vertical alignment's important. But the mechanics is already there, right? That was the hard challenge, starting from scratch to reinvent it.
Mhm.
And we can do that. It's just coming out here for the first time, trying to get that feedback from the industry and see how we take it further. But the math and the mechanics is complete. So
and
very
so far
cool.
it's been nothing but positive.
You know what? We got to stop for a minute. The battery died on the camera. Un momento. Play a film. All right. So tell us about how you started manufacturing it and figuring it out, figuring out what's going to work. And
Okay.
it's only a couple days old.
Right. So it started long before that, right? And
Yeah.
the idea was, you know, having that, pocket full of speed loaders or going to the range and constantly having to reload, or like storage in a bug out bag, or, EDC in your pocket.
Yeah.
With all the speed loaders, yeah, they were working great, but just wasn't as compact, or I couldn't reload as many times. So I tried to take a step back, have another look at it. Right. I knew I could be faster than twisting. And so then I started getting into, that journey of failure, right, to try and get there, to reinvent a release mechanism that not only released but locked, right? Never been done before. So that, vertical to rotational sort of thing, I had to deal with that. Once we got through there, our very first prototype didn't work at all. Right. So, after that, we started massaging and getting it there. And we knew we'd get there, right? The math, but it took a while, and we finally got it. Like I said, got here, could show it to anybody, and it's been working great. So.
Cool. So you take this, you pop the cylinder open, you give it a bump?
Yeah, just a small bump, ridiculously small. That's what surprises most folks.
Yeah.
You barely press it. They'll
and
come
then
out.
6 rounds pop out, and then the next 12 rounds fall down,
lock in place.
I don't. Hang on. Oh, hold it up. Sorry.
So as these 6 fall out, you take it away from the cylinder.
Yep.
The next 12 are holding locked in just like this. So that was
really
kind of
cool.
part of the new invention, right?
That's cool.
Now, one thing I'd like to add is in our packaging, we know that a lot of people still have the belts that hold these single stack.
Yep.
So we design it with this cap comes into packaging. So if you want, you just simply take out these 4 screws, put the cap on, and you have also a single stack. If you want to still maintain the old school mentality of using a speed loader, except it has the push button technology.
That's great. I like the twist. I don't know if I could get used to the push button, but I'm sure with some practice.
There is a little muscle memory. Some of the gentlemen that use that religiously have came by, and it took them a few seconds to understand that this is just so simple. It's just push and go.
Well, I'm going to have to learn to adapt.
Come on by.
All right, I will. I'm going to introduce this to. I want to get you guys' info, and I want to give it to Michael de Bethencourt. He is a snub nose revolver guy. He's got a Facebook page and a website called Snub Noir, and he is all things snub. You ready for this? We are in 2025. He is a police officer that still carries 2 revolvers when he goes on duty.
Outstanding.
Yeah, he likes to tell me all the time he's got less than a year left because he doesn't like he was able to qualify using revolvers with guys that were using the bottom feeders and still maintain everything. So he's all about snub revolvers. I think he would be interested in checking some of these out and seeing all about them. How can people find where they can buy some of these and check them out?
So currently at revindustries.com.
Rev Industries, REVindustries.com.
Correct. And we have them online sales right now.
Do you guys have anything else that you sell at Rev Industries?
Again, we started, this is our debut product, right?
This
our
is great.
flagship. And then again, checking out the engagement, positive feedback, and now we'll take it to the next level.
We will be moving into the 44 caliber probably later this year.
Oh, wow.
You mentioned the J frame. We're going to test back and go into that section probably next. And then I'm a fan of the 45 long Colt, so you'll see that relatively soon as well.
Dude, that's great. So, how are you going to do that with the 45 long Colt?
I don't know. We want to try to make it work so it even fits like a judge, so that I can get the multi-use. So I'm really intrigued to see where that takes
guess
us.
When I hear 45 long Colt, I think of a single action revolver.
For sure.
It's probably not going to happen with that.
Well,
give me some time. I'll figure it out.
He's got 3.
We've even had requests for 22. So we'll see where this goes. Obviously, our demand will feed us what we need to produce next. But I think our next one will be the 44.
Awesome. Very cool. Phil, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Earl, thank you very much. You guys, thank you for tuning into these shows here at the Samson booth. Yep, we're going to put some links to this. We'll put some pictures in there. We'll get you guys all set up. Thank you guys for tuning into the shows. Glad you're watching. Again, I want to send a special thanks to Samson Manufacturing for letting us use their booth. Thanks to Land World for getting us this 1942 Jeep. When they reached out to me and said that, they asked me how I felt about having an actual Jeep to use. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever you guys want.
This is cool.
And I pulled in here and they're like, yeah, we got a Jeep. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
then I'm like, how do I get my fat ass into this thing? That's the problem that I have.
I feel like I could be on an episode of MASH right now.
I know, right? As long as you don't wear a dress, we'll be okay.
Right.
All right, listen, we thank you guys for tuning in. And again, thank you to Samson. Thank you to Land World. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.